Okay, hi Aries, and welcome to your October 2021 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about a lovely and empowering month for you. Big, overwhelming, new, vibrant vibe coming in for Aries. I love to see it. I love to see a kind of a winding down of a previous nervous tendency, a winding down of an anxiety that you might have had before. And I love to see that you are maybe coming together and having better communion with other people, better teamwork, better, just a sort of better vibe in general. I feel very free with your energy. As I was meditating on your energy, it kind of felt like there weren't that many problems and there weren't that many heavy looming issues. But it's definitely easy to fall into that because it's kind of like popular right now. It's kind of on a lot of people's minds in general to have a heavy and kind of overwhelming feeling of, whoa, I've got to change something really quick. Whoa, I've got to really use the power that I have to affect some kind of huge shift in my life. And I don't think that you have to do that right now. I think that there's a comfort point here for you. I think there's a gift for you in the month of October. I love seeing the Ace of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Emperor coming up. I think it's a very gifted time. I think it's a very empowering time for you. The only two cards that are slightly difficult are Nine of Wands and the Knight of Cups reversed. The rest of this reading looks really beautiful. And those are not that difficult either. I mean, there might be a tendency to overwork. There might be a tendency to push yourself past a certain limit and also not really be open about it. Like, people might think that you're totally fine. And I would definitely bring to every Aries attention that the way that you might be being perceived by other people is probably not how you're feeling inside. So worries, fears, pain is probably not going to translate with Knight of Cups reversed to the people around you. People will probably think that you're doing fine, that you're doing really well. And I think that will suit you, but can you start to also get your mind and emotional place of being into a more calm and tranquil place? Because I don't think there's that much to be worried about in this month. Other intuitive messages before we get into the week-to-week reading. Wheel of Fortune coming up. Yeah, it's hard to really cement anything. It's hard to feel like anything is just totally predictable or totally set in place. But I don't feel that anything is going to derail you. So you got to kind of maybe embrace a new philosophy like, okay, things are changing, things are pivoting, but it's going to be in a way that suits me. It's going to be in a way that works out for my greater good, instead of having a fear that the oncoming change, knowing that that's coming, knowing that that is in the wings, is going to threaten your security. Okay, so one big thing for everyone this month is knowing that you have a formula of some kind. And knowing that if you are going to make changes, or if you are going to have to take a leap of faith soon, that there's an ability to fall back on a previous formula if it doesn't work. I think a lot of us are getting too afraid to pioneer new territory because we know that the current one works, but we're not totally happy with it at the same time. And that can be pretty miserable to be in that little in-between place there. It's the most obvious intuitive message for the whole zodiac for me this month is like being okay with what you have, not loving it, but also not trusting yourself enough to change, but not then being happy also with staying. So it's like that wavering place. Ultimately, these last few months of 2021 are going to get us out of a wavering place by doing it perfectly, by getting things perfect the way that they are right now, and then showing ourselves that that's either exactly what we need for quite a while, or that it's just not going to cut it. And then there's a moving on. So it can go either way. And I definitely encourage you all to kind of get things as right as you can within your current context to really be able to judge it properly, as Libra season suggests. So we are on your axis, right, this month. So this is one of the most important months of the year for you. And it's always a polarizing time for Libra and Aries. That axis deals with polarity. In astrology, it deals with hot and cold, extremes, and being really wavering. Okay, so that's definitely the key word right now. Keep a keen eye on that which wavers, on being happy with something one day and then really disliking it the next day, and then also wavering between like your goals as well. Like one day I want this, and the next day I want this over there, and then that over there, and it's kind of like a squirrel, the back and forth thing. Mercury is retrograde for a lot of October, so there's a mercurial kind of wavering that we do need to put our attention toward and understand why that's the case and what it means. So let's talk about your week to week, Aries. I love how concise this reading is this month. Week 1, Knight of Swords rooted down by Ace of Pentacles. Very concise, very clear, very obvious. There's nothing really like spooky or hidden. There's no like hidden undercurrents that are, out of your consciousness. You kind of know your formula. You know where your money comes from. You know where your energy comes from. You know what you're dealing with. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Just keep things simple, keep things shiny, keep things formulaic to a degree. There's a gift for you perhaps in the first week. This could be a raise, a promotion, or some type of accolade or a reward. Some type of communication regarding that and some kind of progress that you're making to get to that. Okay, it's very calm. I really like that energy. It's so streamlined. It's so organized. It's so methodical in a good way. Week 2, same thing. 3 of Pentacles rooted down by the Wheel of Fortune. This first 2-week period of October for you is magic. I mean, that's like being popular in a group. That's being seen as very abundant, very capable, very benevolent. That's also like maybe a change in group. So this could be a change in a team, a change in how people are working, like what jobs they're doing in a team. So for any of you who are members of teams or members of a group project, that might really change up and be a big area of evolution for you as well in the second week of October. You are fortunate though. I mean, it's upright and it's something that will help you in the long term. So try to keep things on that momentum. Like what's going to just keep me coasting in this momentum that I want and what threatens that. And that's going to highlight that wavering thing again. And you get kind of a good view of just where everything's coming from. So it keeps you very aware of your surroundings. Again, there's no like blindfolding. There's no unawareness for you, which is kind of scary in its own way, but it's also empowering for you this month. Week 3, 9 of Wands rooted down by 6 of Cups. Okay, so 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands. These cards have been the most prevalent for this entire year. They are both cards to me that are very representative of the 2021 year cycle. Hard work, hard knocks, hard choices, and not really loving something after you've already committed to it is what 9 of Wands is about. Being that it's rooted down by 6 of Cups, to me it says that you've got to give yourself the enjoyment of what you've created. And it also says that you need to kind of maybe be a little bit less crude with yourself about your choices and maybe get a little bit more of a youthful lens into where you're now at. And if you can't do that, or if something about where you're now at is so overwhelming or so difficult, maybe it's in need of a revamp. But at the same time, I think that it has more to do with how we choose to color things or how we choose to look at something. And I think that there's a clear message in the third week of October, like just, look at this from a more youthful perspective. Look at this perhaps from a more loving perspective as well, and worry less about the logistics and also about the energy being spent, because that's where the energy is spent, is in that worrying and in that procrastination or in that process of not trusting what we've created, not trusting ourselves, basically. That takes up a lot more energy than the physical chain of events that you are committed to. Week 4, you have the Knight of Cups reversed, rooted down by the Emperor. So you got to kind of keep cards close to your chest. I think watch out for oversharing. Watch out for keeping people too close or too, people. It's kind of good to create a caricature of yourself that really is authentic, but isn't necessarily giving too much about what has not already been given. So Knight of Cups reversed indicates even secretiveness, or it indicates that something is not being said or that something is not being communicated. So again, it's not to freak you out because you have a big knowledge, but I think it's more so coming from you. Like what I'm saying is you have a knowledge of the very holistic, wholesome aspect of what you're involved with. I think that this secretiveness or this need to keep things quiet is more so coming from you, perhaps. And maybe that's where your power is. It's just kind of through being very deliberate with how you communicate, or being very deliberate about who you are allowing to be privy to your more intimate facts, okay? This is your other major arcana week. So week 2 and week 4 are kind of the big weeks this month. And I think that you need to, in the 4th week, kind of power it up a little bit and remember and get out of this sort of self-inflicted disempowerment. So let's talk more about that in your extended reading, Aries. We'll talk more about overcoming that disempowerment, and we'll talk about other tips that come up with a central theme and 2 supporting themes. You can check that out on Patreon. It'll be linked below and in the center of your screen. Much love, Aries. Have a great month. Bye.